chicken.
No.
Because for a chicken to have laid an egg...
Courtney, don't spoil the moment.
Doctor, what is it?
The Space Bat Angel Dragon.
Scanning for audio.
Hello and welcome to a Tin Dog podcast discussing, in a moment, Kill the Moon. But before I do that, I need to talk about two very impressive women. First off, and most podcasts have covered this, Linda Bellingham isn't well. The lady who played the Inquisitor during Colin Baker's run in Trial of a Time Lord. But what you might not know is that she also played the Inquisitor, called Inquisitor Darkle, on the Gallifrey series for Big Finish. There's a spin-off from that, which was available last year as a subscriber bonus, which is available next month to buy from Big Finish. And it's the Trial of the Valeyard. It's got Inquisitor Darkle and indeed Michael Jason playing the Valeyard with old Sixie, Colin Baker, at the helm. It's a brilliant little audio, and when that comes out, I desperately recommend that you get it, because she's just great in the role. She says she only has a matter of weeks left to live, so I'd like to send her and her family the best. On a sadder, or equally sad note, the actress Maggie Stables has died. Now, she might not be familiar to all of you, because let's face it, not everyone is a Big Finish fan. But if you cast your mind back far enough, remember a time when Colin Baker wasn't perceived as one of the greatest doctors of all time, when he was just the fool in the coat? All we had was TV Doctor. Big Finish evolved and came along and didn't have Perry as his companion. No, Colin Baker's companion was Dr. Evelyn Smythe, someone who was slightly older and gave as good as she got. She was part of the rehabilitation of the Colin Baker. She was simply superb. Well, the actress Maggie Stables has died. She died this time last week. So my thoughts are with everyone at Big Finish who worked with her as well as her family, because Evelyn was brilliant. Evelyn was perhaps the greatest of all of Big Finish's homegrown talent, and given how much I love the rest of the characters, well, that's saying something. But, as always, that's not quite why you've downloaded this podcast. Why you've downloaded it is to hear me talk about Kill the Moon.
The future is no more malleable than the past.
Okay, don't you do this to make some kind of point.
Sorry. Well, actually, no, I'm not sorry. It's time to take the stabilizers off your bike.
I've got 2 pages of notes, scribbled and scrawled and in no apparent order, basically reflecting the contents of my head. But first off, I need to say that this is perhaps my favourite of all modern Doctor Who, and I'm still not completely sure why. It just feels so right. Perhaps it's because it deals with a bugbear I've always had with the series, old and new. Human history is littered with events that the Doctor's been involved with, and as the series has progressed, this list has grown. If you take into consideration Big Finish and indeed the novels, be they Virgin or any of the BBC stuff, the Doctor is hidden away in quite many of history's greatest moments. Fixed points of history they may not be, but they are definitely something that he's messed about with. It's almost as if human history couldn't actually have taken place without him. We are a bit incompetent as a species. Kill the Moon deals with this. And perhaps that's one of the reasons that I love it so much. First off, first thing worthy of note is that something scuppers my theory about joint credits as put forward in last week's podcast. No joint credit for anyone. there is no extra Moffat-ness here. So when it comes to repeats, Moffat's just going to have to, well, not get the extra cash. Now, if it wasn't for the dodgy physics, i.e. where does the extra mass come from, I would give this story quite a high mark, a much higher mark than usual, because I adore it. If I can just put my brain in neutral and ignore it for a bit, then I'm fine. Now, as you heard in the opening credits, it also reminded me of several things. I know there'll be people out there going, "Oh, it's the origin of the space whale that took Starship UK out into the universe." Sort of. For me, it's quite definitely the space bat angel dragon as seen, or indeed heard or read about, in the Iron Man, made as the Iron Giant but without the space bat angel dragon bit. More Ted Hughes fun. I don't know, you wait for years and never get a Ted Hughes reference in podcasts, and then, I don't know, in the same week you get 3. It's quite disturbing. So if you can ignore the physics and the fact that it drives a massive hole all the way through Doctor Who continuity, in the same way that, say, a juggernaut would drive through a school, we can live with that. Because the moon itself has a long and convoluted history. And I'm sure someone might have noticed, or indeed paid attention to what was going on in the past. According to Doctor Who mythology, the moon is the thing that appeared in the sky, scared the Silurians and made them go to sleep. In reality, this very week, BBC 4, that's the TV station, had a programme basically along the lines of, what did the moon ever do for us? Well, if you watch that documentary, you'll see what happens to the Earth if the moon is removed from orbit. Basically, if the people in the episode had seen this documentary, they would have known whether they should have blown it up or not. It is rather clever to say that basically what happens if they blow up the creature inside the moon versus what happens if they don't works tremendously well. All that really alters, from the human's point of view, is that we don't go into space. There's a line in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy which has been playing around my head since I saw this. And it's when a waiter in Milliways comes over to Zaphod and Arthur manages to say something rather bright. And the waiter says, No, sir, your monkey's got it right." That's what this story's about. It's about the Doctor giving us power over our own destiny for a change. He's not just taking the stabilisers off Clara, he's taking it off everyone. But look how the world votes. There is only one person in the whole humanity who votes to keep the creature alive. The fact that from the moon all you can see of the Earth is the rough outline of the continents rather than individual streetlights coming on and off. I'm sure governments would have pulled the plugs, they would have voted for themselves and just killed the power for themselves. So is this democracy in action? No. This is definitely not democracy in action, because what every single person on the Earth voted for was to kill the space bat angel dragon. The only person who didn't want this was Clara. Think about it. We all voted. Every single one of the thick monkey pudding brains wanted it dead. Why? Because the moon was killing us. One life versus everyone. We've covered this territory in Torchwood, and even Captain Jack killed his own grandson in order to save all of the children of Earth. Same territory, different solution. Because this is Doctor Who and not Torchwood. It's nice that they took a shuttle to the moon. Not quite sure how they got there, but that's fine. Again, let's not think about the physics and the practicality of it all. When the Doctor lands in the shuttle, the important question is, what's wrong with my yo-yo? Well, of course, the answer why they're not bouncing is very, very obvious. We're on a BBC budget. Except on the subject of the BBC budget, this was, and I don't really want to go into it, the whole return to Sarn thing. Because they filmed at Lanzarote, because it does look like a strange alien landscape, except the strange alien landscape really does just look like, well, a bit CGI-ness, and that's fine. I like the fact that it's a UK crew, but I'm not quite sure why it's a fully UK crew. But on top of all of this, and I will come back to speaking some more in a moment, there is an elephant in the room that not a single podcast out there has commented on. No one in the forums has said this. It is nowhere, and it is something that has bugged me since episode 1 of this series. Why does the time rotor no longer go up and down? When travelling through space and time, the little lights inside the column don't go up and down anymore. Yes, there's a whole spinny roundabout thing going on at the top, but I miss the up and down motion. No one else seems to have commented on this, so perhaps I'm wrong, or perhaps we've all been distracted too much. Anyway, back to the actual episode. 100 nuclear bombs, all primed, and there's spiders on the moon. Now, getting back to earlier Doctor Who stories that are quite clearly ignored in this story, we've got spiders on the moon. Not spiders from Mars, that's a whole different kettle of fish. And also big spiders in Doctor Who hardly ever end well. Now, admittedly, we find out in this story that they're not spiders. Fair enough. They're apparently single-celled organisms, but with legs and teeth, and obviously that wouldn't be a single cell, because, that's not what... Leave it. Again, I'm thinking about these things too much. Spiders, Doctor Who, creation of the moon. Spiders, Doctor Who, creation of the Earth. We're back to the Rachnos. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking, oh yes, they were here for the creation of the Earth. They might have had some eggs left on the moon. That's where we're going with this. We might finally get to see the person skittering about. Yes, listen to that Tachyon TV episode if you want more reference on that one. But no, they're just space spiders. They're the antibodies. Again, more antibody talk. Oh, they're everywhere this season. Perhaps it's the antibody agenda. And perhaps not. I absolutely adore the idea of the Doctor leaving Clara and the human race to sort out their own problems. Can you imagine other Doctors doing this? Perhaps you could. Perhaps you could imagine the Third Doctor, or indeed the Sixth Doctor, saying that. The First and Second Doctors, well, they might help out a little bit. And this is Second Doctor territory. We are on the moon. This is a base under siege, after all. So perhaps let's leave it there. The thing that's stuck in my throat, however, for the whole story, isn't the girl who quite clearly isn't special. Oh no, I can discuss her till the cows come home. It's Danny Pink's reaction. Oh, that wound me up something rotten. Never in the history of Doctor Who has anyone been that smug, that I told you so, that condescending. Oh, come here, Clara. Are you upset at the nasty man? I'll give you a hug and feel superior. I told you this would happen. Well, you know what? The Doctor was right. We deserve to make our own decisions. He's just there as a scientific advisor. That's it. Ignore the yo-yo a-go-go and just see it for what it is. The moon reforming after the space bat angel dragons left is completely pointless. It's meaningless. It doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense. But it's Doctor Who. Let it go. Oh, let's all go into space. Oh, nobody goes into space anymore. What, apparently apart from the Mexicans? So people are still going into space? I know it was 10 years earlier, but oh, just leave it. And of course, worthy of mentioning is the return of the Sanctuary-based spacesuits. Yes, available at a car boot sale. Quite clearly there's a missing Doctor Who episode when the Doctor travels back to the Sanctuary base and goes, oh yes, I'll have all those spacesuits, and have you got any in a child size? Yeah, I'll have one of those as well, that'll do me. Keep a big wardrobe in a TARDIS, that'll be fine. Or perhaps that was just hanging up in the TARDIS and the TARDIS manufactured some more. It can do that sort of thing, can't it? So, without quoting Fight Club, she's not special. She's just a child. You're not special. I'm not special. The thing that makes you special is making yourself special. People aren't born special. People don't have... It's not owed to them. Yes, it'll mess with a child's head if you say you're not special. But people aren't. We're just people. We are parasites living on the back of a planet, taking without giving anything. That's what the human race really is. The Doctor sees something spectacular in us. He sees potential. Potential in the way that, say, a girlfriend or a boyfriend would see potential in someone, but only if they change. The Doctor's relationship with the intelligent monkey pudding brains has always been up for debate, but here we see it in glorious technicolor. So yeah, you are not special, small child. Get over it. Make yourself special. Become something better. Then you can be special. But don't expect people to tell you you're special. That's the sort of world we're living in. It's not good. One of the things that did make me happy was that I didn't even notice the throwaway line about there being a female American president. It just didn't matter. It didn't have even remotely the same effect as the female prime minister that was mentioned by unit. Because such things don't register, because they don't matter, because they're not important, they're not out of the ordinary, they're not beyond the realms of, well, expectation. It's not something bizarre in science fiction. It's just something that will occur. And it's really nice to think that that's what's happened. That from an audience perception, that's fine. Of course, the theory has been put forward that the Doctor is human blind. He's not paying attention to the people around him. The fact that he says, "How old are you?" 35 to the child. Well, fair enough. Now, Courtney's real problem is that the original script for this was written with Clara's wards in mind, the neighbours' children, the people that she was looking after as a nanny. And of course the scripts were changed in order to incorporate student from school, random student, being Courtney. She wasn't as annoying as she could have been, and the character was meant to be annoying. Because of the whole duty of care, it was basically Doctor Who does health and safety. You see, I sound like I'm being mad and grumpy and bad. I'm not. I adore this story. It had just enough frights, just enough plot, just enough... Look, they went into space. It was a Doctor Who story in space. How long has it been? Admittedly, they just went a few thousand miles away, but I can live with that. Thank you, BBC, for giving us a space story. I am grateful. And the best thing I can do? Well, I can moan that the TARDIS in 1996 had a wind machine fitted so that when it arrived somewhere, bits of paper went everywhere, and it appears to have been left switched on right up to this present day. Please switch off the wind machine. It's meant to arrive silently and unobtrusively. If that's the biggest complaint I can have about this story, again, apart from the actual physics, well, that's fine by me. Yes, I was picturing James Norton grumbling about the physics of this in the same way that he grumbled about the cold star in Amy's Choice. But this is the real world, or is this just the world of Doctor Who? They're not asking us to leave our minds at the door, they're just asking us to suspend our disbelief. And if we can't do that as Doctor Who fans, what good are we? Right, I'll fade away, and I'll come back very soon with some nice reviews of Big Finish before next week when we deal with Mummy on the Orient Express. So until then, be seeing you. You've been listening to the Tin Dog Podcast. Doctor Who and its connected properties are copyright and trademark of the BBC. No infringement is intended. To contact the show, email tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk. Whostrology, a Time Traveller's Almanac, is available through Telos Publishing or Amazon. Visit www.whostrology.com for further information. The Tin Dog Podcast is a founder member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance.